My daughter was born in Davis, California, and in the central California, it doesn't snow. It just doesn't snow. I myself didn't see snow until I was probably in first grade. We moved to New York and she was just newly 4 and she was excited. I had told her it was going to snow here. She's very excited about this. And the first time it snowed, she was at preschool and it was just a slight dusting on the ground. But she went outside and she brought her lunchbox with her and she pushed a whole bunch of snow into her lunchbox and closed the lid and because she wanted to take it home with her. Of course, she was a little disappointed when she came home and opened that box back up. I think that this reminds me of the Transfiguration story. It did actually, the moment it happened, this idea of trying to capture something and contain it and bring it home with us. Directly preceding this text, in chapter 16, Jesus is speaking about his suffering, his rejection, and his death. He makes these crucifixion the predictions. Now, Peter famously rebukes Jesus and takes him aside and says, "God forbid it, Lord. This must never happen to you." And then Jesus turns to Peter and surprises us with the strength of his response. "Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." Peter does not want to go where Jesus is going, and Jesus knows that that's the path that he has to follow. Peter wants a different story. And so now, 6 days later, we have this story. Jesus brings Peter, James, and John with him up a mountain. And we have before us this otherworldly display. Jesus' face shining like the sun. We have light and glory. Moses and Elijah come, and the three of them engage in conversation. I've always wondered what they were talking about. There's no hint of sorrow. There's no hint of darkness. There's nothing like Jesus said is going to happen in the future. In fact, there have been biblical scholars who have hypothesized that this story is a misplaced resurrection text, that it's been put in the wrong place. I doubt that's the case because Matthew, Mark, and Luke all put it in exactly the same spot. But we might wonder about this as well, because here we have this moment of glory right after Jesus predicts his crucifixion, but long before it happens. And Peter responds to this event, offering to build tents, to build dwellings. And I always wonder if he brought lumber and hammer and nails with him up that mountain, how he was going to do this. But that is his plan. He isn't just odd. It sounds silly and funny, and we laugh at Peter for wanting to build his tents. It seems wildly out of place as a response to this event. But I think that he's trying to change the story. He's making Jesus' life into a bit of a choose your own adventure sort of text. He's making a grand edit in Jesus' story, redirecting, and moving Jesus off the path that he says he's going to walk. Peter realizes that if we stay here in this spot on this mountain, then we don't have to go there where you say that you're going. We don't have to go to the suffering and to the darkness and the death. If we build tents here, then we don't have to walk to Jerusalem where you say this is going to happen. If we can freeze this moment in this place, then we don't have to face what is coming. We can have that resurrection right here. There's a sense in which those biblical scholars weren't wrong. It's the moment, it's a stolen moment in a way. I mean, it's supposed to be there, but it's grabbing this moment of glory before the narrative gets there. And Peter wants to stay in this place. Peter isn't offering hospitality in this moment. He's offering avoidance of pain and sorrow and trauma. And we understand this. It's a very human impulse. The road feels heavy. It feels heavy for us, perhaps, outside these walls today, as there's all that is taking place around us in politics and in our culture. The news is exhausting. There's fear and there's anger close to the surface. And we may feel not sure I want to go out there. We have problems in our own lives. We have the conversations that we want to avoid. We have the conflict that we want to pretend isn't there. We have the denials for our own health circumstances. We have all of the pain and trauma of living that we would rather not face. We would rather not face the struggles of our neighbors and of our community. And we come to this place, this beautiful place with these amazing windows that people come to admire. We come to this place where we have tight community that everyone comments on who visits here, the warmth. And we come here, and this in many ways is our mountain. It's a place where we are tempted to build a tent and to not go out, to keep worship beautiful and also keep it contained, to keep faith private and spiritual, an inner task, to keep the light of Jesus but not the cost. And so we stand here at the cusp of Lent, and there's a reason this task is placed in this spot of the church year, because we always face this same temptation in our lives to cling to the resurrection but ignore the ministry and the path that Jesus walked to get there. And so we might wonder why they are on this mountain. Like, why is this strange story taking place? Jesus intentionally takes Peter, James, and John up the mountain. And note that Peter is the one who expressed such distress over Jesus' prediction of what is to come. One idea that I have is that this event, that it is appetizer for what's to come, and it's a piece of hope that they can carry with them on this journey. It's a reminder of an ultimate future that is at the end of Jesus' prediction. They seem to miss that part when Jesus spoke of it. Promises of new life, of abundant life, not just for the three of them or on that mountain, but for the whole world. And for this moment, it's this transfiguration moment. It's not a moment that is supposed to be frozen in place. It's provision. It is food for the journey ahead. It's a fuller understanding of who Jesus is and who it is that they follow. It's an assurance of the future. And so they have this to carry with them as they continue to follow Jesus on this road. They need this moment, this glimpse of who Jesus is in another context. And so do we. We also need these transfiguration moments. We need the time together that we experience here today, the well of worship that we drink from, this strength of community that bolsters us as we go as we walk through our lives. We need the grounding sense of prayer and reflection, where we can have a deeper sense of who we are and whose we are and why we are in this place. God gives us the mountain. God gives us the mountain so that we are not exhausted, so that we aren't simply just going out into the world to try harder and to fix it ourselves, so that we don't fall into exhaustion. We don't need to feel that it's all on us to fix the world, because we have this mountain. The mountain matters. It matters as a grounding place, as a place that teaches us who we are and what is the path ahead. The mountain matters. It's just not the place that we live. As we return to our text, we find another movement. There is this voice that comes from the cloud, and it's the same voice that Jesus hears at his baptism, the same words, except there's one that is added. This is my son, the beloved. Listen to him. So this is a moment of discipleship. The voice at Jesus' baptism was for him. You are my son, the beloved. With you I am well pleased. This moment is for the disciples. This is my son. Listen to him. And the interesting thing is that this is exactly what Peter is struggling to do. Jesus has been talking about crosses and about losing life to find it. The last will be first and the first will be last. And Peter has been denying it, resisting it, trying to rewrite the future before it happens, trying to redirect the journey. In response to this voice, the disciples fall to the ground, terrified. But Jesus doesn't leave them here. Jesus comes to them. And one thing that is interesting about this, we see frequently in the Bible and in our windows here, that the voice of God comes to us and where we respond in fear. We fall to the ground. And there's an angel, there's a voice of God that says, do not be afraid. But here, Jesus touches Peter, comes to them, and tells them, get up, do not be afraid. Jesus is present with them. It's a reassurance and also a teaching that Jesus is still a physical human being among them. The transfiguration that they saw is a moment that Jesus is a human that is touching them, that Jesus is with them. They can feel him and hear him and talk with him. And he says, get up, do not be afraid. And now they are prepared to follow as Jesus leads them down the mountain. Jesus leads them down the mountain and into misery, into the struggling, into the trouble that is below. The first thing they encounter is a man that is struggling with epilepsy, and Jesus heals him. And we are called also to follow Jesus down the mountain, to follow the disciples down the mountain and into ministry below. We can do this because we don't go back into the world running on empty. We go fed and strengthened by our community and by our worship in this place. We go fed and strengthened, and we are reminded who it is that we are traveling with. We are reminded why we go and why we do the ministry that we do outside of this place. And we are reminded that we don't do it alone. And so we can follow Jesus down the mountain. We can follow the children of Music Works into their real and fragile lives. We can follow the families who eat the food that we collect, and we can deepen our relationship with that ministry. We can move into our community that has many immigrants who live now in fear. We can go out and visit those of our own congregation who are struggling and need this body and need us to be there tangibly for them, and many of them aren't able to be here today. We can move back into our lives, into our own avoided conversations, our avoided griefs and hopes, and the struggles that we are scared to face. This is the road. Our road is not a theoretical road, and it's not a heroic road that we are called to go into alone. It's a real place with real people that we can touch and talk to and speak with, and who can eat the food that we provide. It is a real place, and we are able to follow because we are strengthened here. That is what worship is for. It's to deepen our relationship with God and to deepen our interactions with the world. We can't keep snow in a lunchbox. It melts. And of course, my daughter discovered this, and I had endless icicles in the freezer after that, wrapped in plastic wrap. She learned the lesson, sort of. We can't contain transfigurations. We can't contain holy moments, not even divine food. We have these moments in our lives outside of this place, and you might experience that trying to go back and find it again. You don't always, because you can't contain it. It's something that you carry with you because it changes you. This is not what holy moments are for, because love can't stay boxed up and frozen. Love needs to move. Love needs to act and to be embodied by Jesus, who touches us, and by this community of the faithful as we follow Jesus back down the mountain and into ministry. Amen.